Hey, afternoon, folks. We managed to get the viewers starting, then we'll get into it. Anyway, folks, as you'll probably see from the title, food shortages, question mark, question mark, question mark. Who predicted that 6 years ago? Time to say, I told you so. No funny though, it's going to get worse. We're being told that adverse weather in Africa and in Spain is causing the problems with fresh fruit and vegetables. No, it's not. Brexit is causing that problem. Checks are now going to be done. They're not being done this side. But on goods that we're exporting, checks have got to be done. That's a cost. Exporters, just some of them can't afford it, going out of business. But the food shortage thing, it's nothing to do with adverse weather. It's got to do with supply chain issues and getting them here because of Brexit. We no longer get huge amounts of fresh food and fruits and vegetables from Spain and Portugal and Europe. We are now reliant on Morocco for a lot of our fresh fruit and vegetables. And supply chain issues means that there's going to be shortages. But that's not the worst news. The medicine shortages have started. Certain goods were prioritised to get through the channel up until November last year. There's no priority now. So if you're a supermarket and you have bought you bought a huge shipment of tomatoes, put it in a lorry for Spain. By the time they get all the paperwork and all that sorted out and through, you've got a lorry load of rotten tomatoes. Just a fact. The other thing I told you the other day there, which is true, is that we're sending out meat stuffs to be butchered and brought back in. That's added a huge cost onto foodstuffs. So you'll probably notice things like processed meats are getting more and more expensive. And but the worst of it is that when they did decide to stop 22 lorries, freezer lorries, or fridge wagons we call them, full of foodstuffs, what they found was that what was in the back wasn't what was on the manifesto, because they weren't expecting checks. They were putting mixed goods on the back of the lorry, which should be single goods. And 21 of the 22 lorries that the Border Patrol checked had to be pounded because the food products in the back were no fit for human consumption. That's a big worry. So shortages, not good. And the stuff that is making it in is of very dubious quality. Let's say, I know I'm going to go to a farmer convention. Let's say it's no good. And this is just a start here. I say the European supply chains are starting to realign. I predicted 6 years ago that what will happen is the cost of living will quickly come down in Europe now, as the goods that we used to buy are distributed throughout the European Union for sale. Whereas costs here go through the roof. And the other problem here is energy costs. Right now, the biggest greenhouse facility at Thanet down in Kent isn't producing nothing. It should be producing 24 hours a day, but it's producing nothing. They can't afford the energy bills to turn on the heating to grow. Can't afford that. A lot of the smaller producers went out of business, can't heat their greenhouses in the winter. No viable. So they can't grow in the winter. Can't grow in the winter. Maintaining the facility and things like that and the staff until you can grow in the summer. Shut your business. This will get worse. UK farmers aren't getting any support either with energy costs. With costs of anything actually. After all the fertiliser plants here now shut down. You're having to buy it in for Europe at huge costs. But more importantly, the last year they planted 22% less crops because they didn't have anybody to pick the bloody crops. The farmers are not going to let it rot in the fields. Why grow it in the first place if you can't get it to market? See, there was 6 years ago when the idiots voted for Brexit. They didn't understand the supply chain. They didn't understand the mass market, the amount of foods that were being imported. To say the medicine things, mere worry. Fast track for food and medicines now. You rock up at the port at Cali, or you rock up at the French side of Eurostar, you sit in line, you wait your turn. And your vehicle's being checked. Could hold you up for days. There goes that load in the back of the motor. By the time it gets to the supermarket supply depot, it's triggered. This is going to get worse. And we haven't seen the worst of it. UK bakers tend to get their flour from Canada and America. But with the market bidding internationally for that flour that's being sold onto the market, expect problems with baked goods in the near future and all. Because that's a massive supply chain as well. They say, fortunately, we don't buy much grain in that. Well, we do for drink, for producing alcohol, and we buy a lot of grain for Europe. But a fail. Absolute fail for the UK government. Basic duty of government, protect the people. No energy security, no food security, no health security, no income security, no economic security, no military security. You get right down to it. This particular incarnation of the Tory party have failed in all the primary duties of government. But hey, I just come on and say I told you so. Brexiteers. 6 years ago or something like that, I did the food security video. I even had some professor from Edinburgh University who was a Brexiteer argue with me about it. Here we are, 6 years on. Brexit's only 12 months old, 2 years old, and we're where I thought we would be 4 or 5 years ago. Mental. Oh, as I say, but that's not the worst of the news. Medicine shortages is happening as well now. I also predicted that. Now, the other thing I'm going to tell you about the problems with supply chain, we just spoke about how long it takes it to get into the UK now. Well, anything that does make it in fresh, this is what I said 6 years ago. There is 18 million people in the southeast. That fresh food's not going any further than the Watford Gap. Anything that does come in for Hull, it'll be diverted to the bigger cities in the north of England. I'll know how our supermarket shelves, and it'll be the same with medicines because Public Health England buys on behalf of the other NHSs on these islands. Buy and built cheaper, that's the theory. So when the medicines start to dry up, it's Public Health England that will have first dibs. Now, when you get the ex-chief executive of Sainsbury's saying that it's Brexit's fault, and know some weather event, which he says, aye, there's been a bit of bad weather, but supply chain should have sorted that out right away. Well, it's no. So, expect it to get worse, folks. Mental as that may sound, expect it to get worse. They say they expect to half inflation this year. There's no half inflation. Food price inflation is going to keep inflation around about 8%. No matter how hard the Bank of England tries. They don't understand the stupidity of what they're doing. Every time they put up interest rates, it takes more money out of the consumer's pocket. The consumer's required to spend into our market economy. If the consumer's no money, market economy falls flat on his arse, as we are witnessing at the moment. Simple as that. No matter what lies they're telling us in the news. This economy's flatlining, and then it'll get into recession. Aye, well, there you go. Anyway. Aye, that is why the supermarket stopped the sell by date. No, it's a use by date. That puts a few more days on the product to line the shelves. So there you go, folks. I thought I'd intervene again today at the second box walk, but this time on food security. And being told that this is a weather event in Africa and Europe. No, it's not. Just jump onto your search engine and have a look for shortages of fresh fruit and vegetables in Europe, and you will find there are none. And as I say, what stuff makes it into the UK for new own? We'll only get as far as the southeast. There's 18 million people down there. You guys have a nice day. I just popped on to say I told you so, Brexiteers. Hope you found it interesting. Hope you found it informative.